All right, this is the content video for Genesis chapter 26. One of the main themes of this chapter is to show how just as Abraham had been blessed by God and God watched out for him and his family, so now God is with Isaac. There are a number of parallels, and the first of them is a famine. Moses makes a point of stating that this is a different famine than the one that had faced Abraham, obviously. Um, it is here that the Lord promises to bless Isaac, just like his father. And the rest of this chapter will reflect this. Apparently, Isaac is heading towards Egypt, um, but God tells him not to continue there. But the consequences of the famine are similar. Isaac has the men of the area ask about his wife, and like his father, he lies about his relationship with Rebekah and calls her his sister. This time, Abimelech does not receive a dream, but notices Isaac caressing Rebekah. His reaction is the same as it had been with his father, and that is horror at the potential to bring judgment on his people. He tells his people not to touch Rebekah on pain of death, literally. So then, if we look at the next verses from 12 to 22, we see that just as God had blessed Abraham, now he was blessing Isaac with abundant crops and flocks. And just as the blessing caused conflict with Abraham and Abimelech, so now it is causing Isaac problems. He is asked to move away from Abimelech, and when he does, he finds his father's wells stopped up. In addition to this, several times Isaac's servants dig new wells, and the Philistines claim that it is their water. Finally, he digs a well, and there is no conflict over it. He sees this as God giving him a place in the land. And not coincidentally, but in connection with that, that very night, once again, God comes to Isaac and reconfirms the promise to him for the sake of his father. This again reflects what happened to Abraham as well. The trouble that Isaac was facing with his neighbors was not to make him concerned. God was with him. In response, just like his father, Isaac builds an altar. And if there was any doubt of God's promise, it was quickly confirmed as Abimelech actually seeks him out after he has sent him away and makes an agreement with him. Again, like had happened earlier with his father Abraham. The exclamation mark on this whole event was that that very day the servants discovered water and named the town Beersheba after that, which means well of oaths. And we know what it means because we looked at this earlier. Because Abraham discovered a well when he dug a well. That's when he made his oath with Abimelech and called the well of oaths. So yeah, you see how over and over and over again the point that Moses or the author is making here is that God was with Isaac in the same way as he was with his father Abraham. Now, the final two verses of this passage seem unrelated at first, but they actually serve to introduce the next chapter, which will involve the blessing of Jacob. The point of these verses is that unlike Isaac, Esau was not worthy of the blessing, and that was seen in his marrying two Hittite women. It is also interesting to know that both Rebekah and Isaac found this to be a source of grief. So even though um, Isaac's going to be tricked into giving the blessing to Jacob, we have here um, the pronouncement that both Isaac and Rebekah were unhappy with Esau's decisions, and certainly from the point of view of Moses, that this was a sign that he was not worthy of the birthright, not worthy of the blessing. And we'll look at that another week.